Put it that way. Our next guest tonight is a member of the Freedom Caucus. He says the divisive rhetoric in Washington needs to end. Joining us tonight, Congressman Jody Hice. He serves on the House Oversight Committee. Congressman, great to have you with us.
Thank you very much. An honor to be with you.
I want to start with the shooting itself. We're now learning that the shooter was an absolute compulsive Trump hater. He hated the Republican Party, a leftist supporter of Bernie Sanders, and a member of anti-Republican groups. One of them called Terminate the Republican Party. Give us your thoughts as we learn more about this person, and the violence, that physical violence as well as the violence of language and rhetoric, and the commitment on the left, the Democratic Party, to subvert the Trump administration.
Yeah, you know, as to whether or not this particular individual was influenced directly through the fierce rhetoric politically that is developed these days, we'll never know. He's dead. But what we do know, what I believe with all my heart, he came to that ball field today with the distinct purpose of killing as many Republicans as he could.
Right.
There's no question we have an issue with fierce rhetoric. It's being inflamed by social media and different methods of outlet. And what that creates is nationwide a hostility towards politicians as a whole. And, you know, there's no question, given time and given that scenario being inflamed, it does create a potentially very dangerous scenario.
Yeah, I mean, amongst the things that he posted, listen to some of this. The road to hell is paved with Republicans. Donald Trump is not my president. President Bernie Sanders. He didn't even take note that it was Hillary Clinton and the Democratic National Committee that cheated Bernie Sanders out of a fair run for the presidency, that the presidential nomination that was won by Hillary Clinton through collusion with the DNC and her campaign. No one talks too much about that, as you may have noticed, Congressman. It goes on and on. Terminate the Republican Party. And then the call for unity today. And you know, despite all of the tragedy that has preceded today's, that this call for unity, it lasts usually about 24 hours. And then the assault, the left dim, deep state assault on the President of the United States and his administration will continue with perhaps even more energy tomorrow.
Yeah, you know, and listen, no one argues the call for unity. That's good and fine. We are Americans. We ought to surround ourselves around those things that we believe: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, inalienable rights, those type of things. We can disagree on policy, but there's certain things as Americans we need to come around. But at the end of the day, unity is something, it's an attitude of the head that generally doesn't last long. We need a change of heart in this country, and quite frankly, we need God back in America. We've been kicking God out of the public square for a long, long time. And I think that also is something that is part of the problem here that we need to seriously look at. We don't need a hostility environment towards people of faith, but to encourage faith. That is the type of thing that changes hearts.
You're exactly right in everything you say, in my judgment. But as we have seen the secular left rise and hostility within it rise, it has become a threat to domestic order and to this administration. It's irrational, and there is no, if you will, mitigation on the part of the national left-wing media. Indeed, they have become collaborators, accomplices in those acts of subversion and the effort to undercut this lawful administration. This is something we've never experienced.
You're right. We've never experienced this before. I mean, people always are disappointed when their candidate is not elected, if they don't win. But what we're seeing these days is taking it to a whole nother level, and it is creating an environment nationally of great hostility. I don't see a good positive end to that picture. And so this is a time we need to do some serious soul searching across the board. on both sides of the aisle for that matter. But this is something we need to dig deeply in and find those things that as Americans we cherish together.
And to watch the special counsel, 2 intelligence committees, your House of Representatives run by the Republican Party, the Senate run by the Republican Party, working as hard as they can to help undercut the President of the United States. Is it time to end this ignorance? Because it is that. The FBI investigation has run almost a year. The special counsel now, its investigation, the investigation of the committees now, 6 months worth of it, and nothing. Why do we permit it? Why should it be permitted to go on?
Hey, that's a $10 million question, and yeah, listen, you can almost see this thing unfolding as yet another example of just a partisan witch hunt. We have under oath one individual after another, from Comey to Rogers to on and on, who have said the president did not try to persuade them in the Russian investigation, did not try to interfere with it, on and on and on, that he was not under investigation. And now we have the special counsel that's surrounding themselves with individuals who have a conflict of interest, quite frankly, and who have given to the Democrat Party. This just smells like it's just going down a path of a political witch hunt. And it's something to cause great alarm.
Democratic donors, attorneys for the Clinton Foundation, the list goes on.